Now I am going to explain very important part, expressing a strength of a solution. So solution can be of different types. Solution can be dilute solution can be strong solution, and which is also called as saturated solution, and solution can be supersaturated solution. So first I am going to explain about the dilute solution. Dilute solution. So dilute solution means when very little amount of solute is present. Solution is said to be dilute when very little amount of solute is present in the solvent. When very little amount of solute, very little amount of solute is present in a solution. Very little amount of solute. Like if you take 100 gram of water and add 5 gram of sugar or salt. For example, 5 gram salt in 100 gram water. So this is said to be dilute. Just I have taken an example, so we can take a small amount, and this dilute solution has a property that on cooling it cannot be separated into solid. This is very important point. So properties. So first property, on cooling the particles of solute are not separated. Like for example, we purchase sweets like gulab jamun or rasgulla from the market, or we prepare at our home. What happens? After some time, when the water is lost, we have the crystals of sugar. So this is the a strong solution or saturated solution. But when we take this solution, we allow to cool or we allow to stand as it is, so we cannot have the particles of sugar. So this is one point. Other point is more and more solute can be easily added. More and more solute can be easily added. More and more solute can be easily added. So this is said to be the dilute solution. Now this is the second. It is saturated solution or strong solution. Like we take the case of sugar syrup, which is called a chasni in jalebi, gulab jamun, and this single sweets. The sugar syrup is thick, the solution is thick. All you know this. Why? Because excess of sugar is dissolved in less amount of water. You all must have seen in your kitchen, your family members prepare any sweet dish. They add lot of sugar and little amount of water to prepare the sugar syrup or chashni. So it is an example of saturated solution. So what we can say, when excess or large amount of solute and little amount of solvent is added together by heating. This is very important point. The resulting solution is called as strong or saturated, strong or saturated solution. Example, sugar syrup, sugar syrup, which we call jasmine, sugar syrup. So it is, having much less amount of water in it. So if we add 200 gram sugar, 200 gram sugar, and say 20 gram water, like this. Very little amount. Just children, I have written on heating, it is converted into sugar syrup. Now the properties. Next point is properties. So properties, first point is on cooling such a solution, on cooling such a solution, solute particles appears. Solute particles appears. You all know this. When we prepare, sweets like rasgulla or gulab jamun, or we take up from the market, what happens? When it is hot, the sugar syrup, it is, completely confined around the sweet, etc. But when it is cooled down, what happens? The particles of sugar, they appear. So this is said to be the saturated solution. Now second is that we can add more sugar. We can add more sugar only by heating. Only by heating. We cannot dissolve sugar in a sugar syrup at room temperature or at normal temperature. We have to heat more and more. So this is about the saturated solution. Now third is supersaturated solution. So supersaturated solution means solution having very little amount of solvent. Like when jaggery or gur is prepared, what happens? The farmers, they boil the sugar juice. They boil the sugar cane juice into very large vessels, and it becomes just like a very semi-solid mass. And on cooling, what happens? It becomes just like halwa or pudding, and so they prepare the balls of the jaggery. So it is solution having very little amount of solvent, and excess of solute is present. Just I have said this about this jaggery syrup, but example, if we take 1 kg sugar or jaggery, and 50 ml water. So you can imagine, it becomes like halwa or pudding, very thick. And the properties. Number one, it cannot take up solute easily. It cannot take up solute easily. We have to boil it, and we have to boil it. Second is, it is having semi-solid mass. It is having semi-solid mass. semi-solid mass is there. Just here it is like the toothpaste. So this is about the supersaturated solution.